Hello everyone, it's Miss Gill here, ready for your assembly. So either good morning, if you're watching it in a morning, or good afternoon, and welcome to what is my assembly, but I'm not going to be giving you the title of my assembly, which is a little bit different for me because I always introduce what I'm going to do. But for this assembly, I want it to be a little bit interactive. Now, interactive means that you're going to be thinking, you're going to be contributing, giving answers, and that might mean that the adult in the room is pausing the video so that you can do that, or it might mean that you get some whiteboards and use those to have a go at writing down some of the answers. But I really want to see green listening and green thinking. So if you need to get your whiteboards together, you might want to pause now. If not, we'll carry on and make sure you are ready for my challenge at the end of the week, which leads on from this assembly. Now, it's a nice challenge and I think you will enjoy it, but it requires your class working together as a team, and it involves a little bit of singing, which I am not going to demonstrate for you because singing on here for all of you would be my worst nightmare. I would absolutely be terrified of doing anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start listening to some music before we start, and that's the first thing we do in our assemblies. Now, this bit of music needed a little bit of research from me. I'd heard of the music before, but I didn't know the composer, and I certainly didn't know what country the composer was born in. So we're going to listen to the music and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. But I know that some of you might think of this piece of music to do with something you've maybe been to before. Right, I'm going to share the music now. Oh, stop presenting. I just need to stop because I've forgotten to do something, so I'll go again, share this, and I need to include my sound on it, and here we go. Now back to me, and we're going to now look at what that piece of music is called, and I will share that with you now. Here we go. So that piece of music is actually called Thunder and Blazes, or previously it was known by the Entry of the Gladiators, and it was by the composer Julius Fuchsich, and he was famous for being an army bandmaster. So that basically meant he was the leader, the conductor of a band, and he was famous for writing hundreds of marches for army bands to play. And Julius Fuchsig was very interested in Roman history and wrote this piece of music because he was thinking about gladiators going into the big arenas, and that's what his thoughts were when he wrote his music. But then somebody else, as always happens, comes along and changes things, and changed it to the name of Thunder and Blazes. And we might have heard it when we've maybe been to the circus, and it's usually used when like clowns appear. Okay, now it's said to listen out for music being played purely on brass and woodwind, so there was no strings. Now when you watch that performance there with that orchestra, you will have seen that there wasn't actually any strings. So I want you just to have a little think now, and you can do that on your whiteboards, or you can pause for a minute and tell me what you can think of any brass instruments or any woodwind instruments. Just have a think what you might have seen when you were watching that little piece of music. Hope you've got some for brass now. And then having a think of woodwind. You having a look at your partners, you having a discussion. Well, I'll share with you now. So these are just some of the examples, not all of them, just some. So you can see the brass instruments, you can see by the colour of them, looking at the trumpet, the trombone, the tuba and the French horn. Just a few examples of some of them. And then for the woodwind, you've got things like your clarinet and your flute. Okay, so there's some ideas there of what would come into those families. Right, the next thing that we're going to look at now is a word that's going to come up in our assembly today. And I thought I could give you this word, but then I thought, let's see if you can guess this word from something that I quite like doing, figuring out problems. I quite like having a go at problems. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Now, fingers crossed, I get my countdown music when this goes. I have been trying to do this. Okay, so I'm going to share you the letters and you're going to rearrange them into the word. So these are your letters, and if I click, I should be able to give you 30 seconds. So have a go on your whiteboards, or if you haven't got your whiteboards, just have a work out of what it could be. Off you go. My time has stopped. I think that might be about 20 seconds. Okay, did anybody get the word? Now the word that we're going to be using is actually values. Okay, and a value is a principle that guides our thinking and behaviour. And we've all got values, and I'm going to be sharing some of those with you soon. But one of my values that I think of a lot about is friendship. That's a really valuable thing in my life. It's one of my values that I would look after my friends. So it's a little bit wrong. Okay, what you value makes up who the part of the person you are. So there's loads of values, okay, but all our values help us to be the person you are now and will grow up to be. Now, we all value different things, but I'm going to share with you some possible values. Now I want you to work out with your partner or just by yourself which are your top three. Are they different to your partner? Are they different to the adult in your room? Let's have a look. So, we've got honesty, politeness, caring, resilience. Now that's when you keep having a go and you keep trying hard. Friendship. Now I mentioned friendship was something important as one of my values. Kindness. So many to choose from. Patience, determination, love, and ambitious. Now all of these are values. Which ones are your most important values? I'll just give you a minute to have a little think about that. Okay, I should now be seeing that green sitting and that green thinking, and I want you to be thinking about your values and how you use those in your life. And then we're going to move on to something else about values. But if we think about imagining a place where everyone is different, so that's like us now, we're all different, but some are strong, some are bossy, some are small, some fall over a lot and bump into things, and some are just fabulous. I'm talking about the little Mr. Men and the little Miss. Okay, and they're all very different. Well, if we didn't have, or the little Mr. and the little Miss didn't have the same values, the same things that they thought were important, just think what would happen. That's right. The world they lived in would be absolutely chaotic and a terrible place to live because they didn't have any shared values. But they all get along, and the reason for this is that they have a set of values that enable them to live happily along together. So maybe they value some of those things that we had talked about earlier. Maybe they value friendship. Maybe one of their values is kindness, so they make sure they treat each other kindly. Maybe one of their values is love. Maybe they show love for each other. Lots of different things are our values. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about our British values, because we've got our personal values, but can a country have values? And actually, we have some values, and you might have heard of these, and they're called British values. And my job today is to try and teach you about those values. Okay, so there's 5 British values, and I'd like you all to say that really quietly. I'd like you to whisper now to the screen, British values. After 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we'll say it a little bit louder. 1, 2, 3. British values. And then a bit louder. Can you say it after 3? 1, 2, 3. British values. Okay. And how many British values are there? Show me with your fingers. I hope you're holding up 5. I hope you're holding it with your whole hand, because there is 5 British values. And today I'm going to be teaching you about 2 of them. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to put in front of you your hands flat down on the table. Okay, and then I want you to turn your left hand over. okay? And this is what's going to help you remember your British values. Now, the first one we're going to think about is this one, your middle finger, your tallest finger, and this is about tolerance of different religions and cultures, okay? And we try and remember that because we say it's the tallest, and I suppose it's pointing to God if you want to think of it like that. Okay, so that's how people remember it. There's 5 British values, and the one in the middle is tolerance of different cultures and religions. And I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about that, okay? So we have to accept when we live in Britain, that's our country, that we need to be surrounded by people that are going to be tolerant of other faiths and religions and cultures, okay? And that means that we respect everyone for being different, and we respect everyone for having their chosen religion or faith or cultural activities that they take part in. So I'm going to be sharing with you a short story to try and show you how we can be respectful of that and how we learn more about those different faiths. Okay, now here I've got some pictures, and it says we don't just tolerate different cultures and faiths, but we show respect. Now Miss Mackin and Mr Johnson did a lovely assembly with Reception Green about respect the other maybe 2 weeks ago, and it shows lots of different ways that we can show respect. But if we've got tolerance and we're tolerating different cultures and faiths, that means we need to respect it, because we don't just tolerate it, we respect it. And to do that, we ask questions so that we can understand. So if there's something you don't understand, you need to ask questions, but you can do that in the right way, in a polite way. And we know that we can have friendships across different faiths and cultures. And that makes one of our British values. Remember, put your hand down in front of you, put both hands down and turn your left hand over, and that middle finger there is pointing to God, and it's saying that we're tolerant to different religions, faiths and cultures. That means we show our respect. Okay, so I'm going to just share with you now a very short story, and it's called Hats of Faith, and it tells us a little bit about the different hats that people would wear to show their religion or to show their love for God. Okay, so what I want you to do is to think now about any new learning, anything that you think, oh, I didn't know that. And perhaps the adults in your class could work with you, and you could look at this again to see if you can remember some of that learning. And maybe when I pop in on Friday, when I'm coming round for your challenge, you might be able to tell me a little bit about what I'm showing you now. Okay, so I'm just going to go onto a YouTube to show you this. And then if I go back, me again, and then I should be able to go onto here. And I should have, here we go, up, and I've forgotten to do something. I've forgotten to go onto something that Mrs. Halliday tells me all the time that I need to do on here. I need to share my screen with the volume, so I'm going to just do that. So just give me a second. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to share again, and I'm going to include computer sound, and I'm going to try that. And hopefully I will be able to play this for you.
Hats of Faith. Many religious people share the custom of covering their heads to show their love for God. This is a turban which many Sikh men wear. This is a hijab which many Muslim women wear. This is a Rasta hat which many Rastafarian men wear. This is a patka which many Sikh boys wear. And this is a tikal which many married Orthodox Jewish women wear. This is a chunni which many Sikh women wear. And this is a topi which many South Asian Muslim men wear. This is a kippah which many Jewish boys and men wear. And this is a head wrap which many African Christian and Muslim women wear. Learning about each other makes it easy to be more understanding. Being understanding helps us spread love and peace. The end.
Okay, back to me. I'm not the fastest on sharing my screen, but what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint that I had ready and tell you a little bit more. So I hope I'm still seeing that excellent green sitting and green listening. So from that book, which I thought was a really cute little book because it went through all the different hats that represent people's faith with some beautiful pictures to help us remember. Okay. So then, if we learn, like it said in that book, if we learn about all the different religions and faiths, and we don't just ignore them, but we learn about them, we understand how prejudice can lead to hate and how it is important to overcome prejudice. So what happens is, if people don't know about things sometimes, they cannot be very nice about it. And it's our job to learn as young people and as adults and as older people. It's our job to keep on learning so that we can learn about where we live and make sure that everybody has that respect for different religions and cultures. Okay. And something here says that we know that we're part of a culturally diverse society. So that means we know that there's lots of different cultures, and that makes it a brilliant place to be able to live and learn. Okay, so that was our first British value that I wanted to teach you about. Now, there's no order to them, and you can learn them in any order. But that one in there, the middle one with your middle finger, remember, is the tallest and it's pointing up to God. And that's about tolerance of different faiths and cultures. Now we've got one next to it. We put our hand down again in front of us. So we put both hands down, but we want our left hand and we turn it over. We've got our next one here that we're going to be looking about, which is mutual respect. Now, mutual respect becomes between the tolerance of different cultures and religions and one little one on our little finger on its own, individual liberty. But we're going to be learning here about mutual respect. Now, the word respect can mean lots of things. You can have respect for something or someone because you admire them. Okay. You can have respect for someone's feelings, their wishes or their rights, so we can respect people in that way. You can have respect for things other than humans or things that aren't living. Now, I think I've shown you 3 different ways you can use the word respect there. Okay, now I've got some pictures here and I want you to think which one shows respect and in what way. and which one doesn't show respect and in what way. So I'll just give you 30 seconds there. Right, I was counting 30 in my head, but I think that's about 30 seconds. Now, you can see here, this one here shows respect, because respect here, they've got the mutual respect because they're all looking at each other and listening to each other. They look like they're listening to the teacher, but they also look like they're listening to each other. And that's mutual respect. They're respectful for each other's views and what they're saying and what they're talking about, and they're listening. Now this one here is a picture of a beach, and this is what it's like at the end of the day sometimes, especially in summer. And this one, as sad as it is, has happened because people haven't been respectful. They haven't been respectful for their environment, and they've left all this rubbish, and this rubbish will go out to sea. So that is not having respect. So mutual respect can mean lots and lots of things, but it's about doing what is right and caring for friends, family, and the environment. Even if you saw a little insect in your garden, it's not to stamp on it, it is to have the respect for it and to be able to put it back somewhere that it needs to be. If you had a fly in your house, it's to open a window and not to hurt the fly, because it's about respect. Okay, and we think now about why should we have respect. Do we like people to be rude to us? No, I don't. I get very cross sometimes when people are rude to me. If I was in a shop and people are rude to me, I think, oh, they haven't got any respect. Do you like people to ignore us? We don't. Do we like people to hurt us? We certainly don't. And then there's lots of things. Do we like people to break or spoil our things? No, because all these things on here mean that people haven't got respect. Do we like people to mess up our special places? No, we don't. So if I think about the beach, I think that's about some people messing up our special places and they're not having respect. But it says we can't expect to be respected unless we show respect. Okay, and there's lots of different ways that we can show respect. Okay, following rules, keeping promises, being fair. Okay, and I just thought I'd put in a few of these things here because sometimes I notice on the playground that people want to be alone for a little bit, and I just want to remind you that even if you're a kind friend and you go and try and get to play with your friend, sometimes people just want a little bit of time on their own, and that is fine. And that's called mutual respect. It's understanding that that person just needs that bit of alone time. And if somebody believes something different from you, that's okay too. We respect each other's opinions. We can't all be the same. And not everybody likes the same things either, and that's also fine. And we don't be funny with each other because we have a different opinion, or we like something different, or we don't want to be friends with somebody because they like something different. It's none of that, because our British values is that we, on this finger here, have mutual respect. So lots of respect in lots of different ways. Okay. We might not always agree with the other people, but we try to show respect for their thoughts and feelings. Okay, now this is my challenge. And the word respect has come up in both these British values. It's come up in tolerance, because to be tolerant of different faiths and cultures, you need to show respect. And then we've also got mutual respect. Now, there's a little song that Aretha Franklin, who was very famous in America, released a song. She released lots and lots of songs, and this one was released in the 1960s, and she was famous for her music, but also what she did for racial issues in America. Okay, and this song became a bit of a anthem and something they would use lots and lots of times. Now, you've maybe heard this song, but what I want you to do is, if you see these letters R-E-S-P-E-C-T, and I'm going to see if you can this week sing as a class. There's about 15 seconds or maybe 10 seconds, and I'm going to play it for you, and the adult in your class can have a go at trying to get you to listen to this music and have a go at singing it as a class. And then on Friday, I'm going to come round and I might even record some of you doing it, seeing if you can sing this. But I'm not going to demonstrate. It's one thing I won't do, which is to have a go at singing. Okay, so I will end this. Ooh. Okay, so I will share now this little bit of a video, and I've done it again. I'm going to stop presenting that. I'm going to stop sharing that, and then I'm going to go back again, and I'm going to make sure I include the computer sound so that you'll be able to hear the music. Okay. Show that bit again. Okay, and I got quite excited when I was watching that, because I'm thinking about all the classes having a go at singing that R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Okay, and but you'll do far better than that little attempt of mine. Okay, so that's on Friday. I'll be coming round. Right, have a great week, everybody. Focus really hard, and let's see lots of that green walking everywhere I go. Okay, bye for now.